Hey yo, welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What's up, Thorne?
I'm here, back at it. The streak continues. We're getting we're getting some heat last week because I didn't upload that one that we had in the can until Friday.
It happens, you know. I mean, it still came out, you know, once a week. We never promised an actual date. When, you know, we just said once a week. So
yeah, we made it. You know, just barely. But there was a lot going on last week with us trying to get this Intense TV thing launched.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured, too. I knew you guys had been doing a lot with that. That's why I didn't even really hit you up like, hey, you know, if you wanted a live record. I knew we had the one in the can, which I did get a lot. I have gotten a decent amount of feedback from people. People seem to like that one. You know, some people they said they want to hear more of the Duke on the podcast.
Who said that?
I don't know if we should tell them that.
Who said that? I need
Summers.
I need a name.
Justin Summers wants more of the Duke. He said that. He claims he said this for a long time now. But I also, you know, to be fair, I've always liked the Duke on the pod. I think he adds a lot of, you know what I mean, insight to the wrestling industry. He's been around, he's been in it for quite a while. He tells good stories. I always, I always enjoy the Duke on there. It's always a good time over at Duke W3 over there as well. That was a good night.
Yeah, uploaded recently to the Cleveland All Pro Archives Facebook page a Duke match from 2004.
Yeah, PC Lover.
PC Lover.
Yeah, I saw that. That was this is quite a match. Yeah, if you don't know. If you don't know, Duke has been on the Cleveland independent wrestling scene for quite a while, and he used to go by a ring name at the PC Lover. And Thorne, like you said, just uploaded that to the Cleveland All Pro page. So definitely go check that out. There's been a lot of stuff uploaded to that. The page is sweet for somebody like myself. Like I've always, I've said I was newer to independent wrestling. AIW kind of introduced me to indie wrestling. So I didn't, I had never been to any Cleveland All Pro shows or any of the other ones. So seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time is pretty rad. I wish I was, because I was definitely the right age to be. I could have been going to some of these shows and stuff and having a good time. But yeah, I was unaware. But this page has definitely exposed me to a lot of it.
Well, I mean, you got to think about, the time. There was no social media. There was, you had to know it existed, or else how else would you have known? It wasn't. Things have just evolved so much with social media and being able to target audiences and just be able to get the word out there. Mm-hmm. You would have had to have gotten a flyer somewhere or something, or else you would have known. There was a time in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was an indie show probably every weekend, Friday and Saturday, that you could drive to, and they were all packed, every single one of them. Just different time, because wrestling as a whole was on fire, at that time period. So it just different, just a different era. But for me, I said it before, but these are the shows, some of these shows I eventually, I was on a couple Cleveland All Pro shows, but these are the shows I was just going to, you know what I mean, as well as a teenager. So it's just kind of interesting for me. It's when I'm digging through these tapes, it's just I've unlocked a time capsule kind of, and I just pop one in and I go, oh, I remember this guy, I remember that guy, stuff like that.
Yeah, some of the guys some of these names I had never heard of, and then you look at the comments and you'll see people like, oh man, this guy, I haven't heard of him in so long, and it's it seems like it's definitely a real trip back in time for some people.
Oh, I mean, you have to think, some of this footage is nearly 30 years old. Some of it is 30 years old. I think the oldest tape I found was from 1994, but yeah, there's some. It's kind of. I wish I had the complete collection. I don't think anybody has that, but I don't think it exists. But yeah, it's just I pop in a tape and I go, oh man, I haven't thought about this guy in forever, or this guy in forever. And I think a lot of those guys are, I heard from a guy named Lars Rockney, who was, from that era of Cleveland independent wrestling. And, you know, he hit me up and he said he lives in like North Carolina now. He says he bought a flight to come March 22nd because he wants to see Jason Bain wrestle again.
Yeah, you had kind of alluded to that on one of the other shows and said that there was a guy that was talking about it. So he definitely bought a flight.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
He said he bought a flight and he's trying to get some of the guys that he's, you know, still in contact with that aren't wrestlers anymore. He's trying to kind of get like you know, it's almost like a reunion going, you know, as far as to come out and support Jason Bain. So I thought that was pretty cool.
You just posted one recently of Jason Bain and Ray Rowe together from 2004. I'm sure a lot of people, you know, who listen to this podcast know obviously who that is. So I mean, if you want to see Ray Rowe and Jason Bain go, if you're not too familiar with Jason Bain, that's a great one to check out.
Yeah, that's about 53 seconds of them just killing this guy named The Fever.
There was another post I'm trying to find.
Duke's former business partner, The Fever.
Oh, interesting. Oh, here it is. Okay, so there was a guy. Somebody posted it's just a guy that got his shirt says "Got Pod" on it. What was that wrestler's name? Because I saw that comment. I was like, we got to bring this guy back.
That's the Sheik Abdul Hassan, who was just like a Cleveland wrestling mainstay for years and years and years and years.
So that wasn't his normal gimmick? Did he just wear that one random night, or was that what was going on with the?
So like he did like all kinds of gimmicks. You know what I mean? He did like a Sheik gimmick. He did a gimmick where he was like from Iraq and came out with an Iraqi flag, and you know he was Iraqi sympathizer gimmick. And then what he's probably most known for around here is to kind of go, you know, in the realm of you know, the T-shirt he was wearing is he formed a tag team called the Munchies. You know, like they had the Munchies.
Oh, that'd be so good.
And their big thing was they threw Twinkies out into the crowd.
Okay.
You know, because they had the
Munchies. I can get behind this. Yeah. I'm all for this.
Well, yeah, there's, you know, just it is kind of like I'm creating a digital time capsule. Really no purpose other than, like I said before, it's kind of, I don't know, centered me or refocused me a little bit, you know, as far as like I can kind of disconnect from the AIW work and I can work on this stuff. And it's actually like, you know, like not that AIW isn't fun or exciting, but AIW is a lot of work, as you know, anybody that's kind of working behind the scenes can attest to. This is just kind of like, you know, I'm getting engaged with like working on stuff, but it's like, you know, I don't know, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like I just popped the tape in earlier and I was, you know, editing stuff, getting it ready to upload, and it's just like this guy that was like supposedly Shane Douglas's like protege. His name was the Protege, and
oh, great!
You know, like I remember seeing him on all his name was the Protege Mike Preston, and I remember seeing him on all these shows like throughout Northeast Ohio. I was like, I have not thought about this guy since 2001. You know what I mean, or 2002. So then, like, I fall down a rabbit hole and like saw that he was like signed to WWE for a while, and you know was like a developmental guy, and then you know I guess never made it, but. I don't know. It's keeping me engaged with what we're doing, I guess, you know, like keeping me, especially like, you know, I feel like from COVID, it was like, we were so disconnected, and then we were like, we got back into it, but it was just like, it was kind of like almost like formulaic when we came back in a way that, like, you know, just having shows was like drawing, and you know people were just excited to be like for us to be back, and now you know we're removed from that for a while, and now it's just like, okay, like now we really got to lock back in, and like I don't know, for whatever reason this is kind of helping me lock back in.
Do you think it's helping you at all in the ways of booking, as far as like you were saying with COVID for a while that we didn't have any shows, and then we kind of came back, and AIW's always kind of been storyline driven, and for a little bit as we came back, there was just some shows. There really wasn't as much storyline stuff. Do you feel like watching the older stuff, where I feel like a lot of it was all storylines and gimmicks and stuff like that? Back in the day, I don't think they just had, you know, there really wasn't matches for just matches' sake. There was always something.
Cleveland All Pro kind of was matches for matches. Like there was stuff, but like it was just. Independent wrestling was not as evolved as it is now. You know, like you could just do a show. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy. Like there's like, I found these tapes, and I remember going to both shows, and it's like Friday night is in Garfield Heights, and Saturday is in Lakewood, and like they're both fucking sold out, packed. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
I couldn't even imagine like running in that close of proximity, you know, on back-to-back nights with like the same lineups. Like, well, the matches were different, but it was like, you know, Sabu was on both
sort of
nights,
the same
you know
roster
what I mean? Like,
of who was on.
But it's like Sabu is like, you know what I mean? This is like, you know, coming right out of like the death of ECW. So like Sabu's like gigantic megastar, but still, you know what I mean? Like just running in, but that's just how it was back then. You know, it was just like, you know, I'm sure there were angles and things that progressed, and JT did like, they would do like public access television, you know, like stuff like that. But yeah, just, I don't know, just different time. It's just like, it brings me back to kind of like before it was such a serious thing, you know what I mean, for me. Just kind of, I don't know. It's just, it's really almost like been therapeutic in a way, I guess. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, that's good though. At least, I mean, you know, you don't want to be burnt out on AIW. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be at the end of it all. It's supposed to be fun. I mean, we've had some stressful things as far as, you know, from getting our own equipment and learning that, and all the hiccups that came with that, to personal lives mixing with business lives here in the realm of John Thorne. So there's been a lot of stressful things, sure. So it's good that, you know, you got something that's, you know, keeps you kind of, like you said, focused.
And I was kind of feeling burnt out there at certain times. You know what I mean? Especially like, you know, those back-to-back kind of crazy summers that we just had, stuff like that. You know, it was just like, it was a lot. You know, especially like when we're being hired for shows, you know, as opposed to running them ourselves. Like, you would think that's just like, oh, you know, we're being hired, like, who cares? But that comes with its own kind of other whole ball of problems that, you know, we don't usually have to deal with. So, you know, it's like when it's tickets are the reason or not why we're going to succeed, like, that's a problem. But when somebody's like giving you money and like you have to answer to them, that's a whole different problem, you know what I mean? So like there's just a lot of that stuff going on, and then, you know, you're mixing in, you know, I'm picking up these, you know, gigs, you know, for Psychopathic Records and, you know, the gatherings and all that stuff. It was just like, you know, we were kind of running pretty hard for the last couple summers for sure, and then, you know, there's really no break heading into, you know, the regular AIW kind of season from the summer. And then, you know, that's why I was like really happy that we took January off this year. It just, I feel like it totally recharged me, and that's when I really kind of got super, you know, in depth with this Cleveland All Pro kind of project. So it's really kind of helped kind of get me back, you know, back on track.
I hate taking the month off. Like, I hate not having, you know, an AIW show, but when January rolls around, it hits, it's like, all right, okay, like it's a good to have at least like a break here. Like, you don't want to do it, but it's definitely necessary, from especially coming right out of the holidays and New Year's and all that. And we ran a show on the 29th of December or whatever, so there was a lot going on. So yeah, we definitely needed January off. Speaking though of new projects though, and things that we, you know, more content that we've been doing, we unveiled our the re-debut of Absolute Intense Wrestling Intense TV. That was kind of what we touched on, that, you know, the reason we were a little late with the pod last week, and we, you know, put up the pod we didn't do like a live, you know, one that we talked about, like, you know, how we record every week, but a lot went into Intense TV. I saw it. I thought it was incredible. I actually watched it at a concert I was at. It was in between like the set change of the bands, so I got to stand there and watch it. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, you know, once we kind of have been getting together and trying to get, you know, like focused on these different kind of avenues that we normally don't. Yeah, that we've like, I don't want to say that we don't do, but we've like neglected attention, you know, like we have this equipment, we are not using it to its full capabilities or potential, you know, like we have all of these social media followers that we are not using to the full potential or capitalizing on, you know, just stuff like that, to where it was like, you know, this was always kind of in the conversation of like, once we get in kind of the zone, so to speak, and, you know, we start cooking and rolling a little bit, like, it's something that I wanted to reintroduce because, you know, it's like what I've been saying about the complimentary content. Like, you know, it's there for people that want to see it and dig in more, but like, you're also, it's not going to be 100% necessary for you to come and enjoy an AIW show, you know? So it's kind of just like weaving into where, you know, for people that want it, it's there and there's more to consume, and it's, you know, it's free and it's quick, and it's just another way to, you know, kind of, you know, just use social media and use like our reach to kind of, you know, who knows, maybe we'll, you know, find some new fans. You know, like the Gold Scenes famously, they discovered AIW just through the podcast, you know, not even watching, you know, a show or really knowing about the content. So, you know, we're just kind of, you know, throwing everything at the wall to see if we can continue to grow in 2024. So this was just one of those things that we've always been thinking about doing, and, you know, I've always been throwing it out there. You know, there's other stuff that's on the board that hasn't been completed yet. You know, like we want to get some best ofs rolling for Triller Plus TV, and you know what I mean, all that stuff. So there's been stuff that's just been kind of, you know, thrown up on the board for, you know, that I think that we need to accomplish. But the thing that I've realized is, you know, I have to delegate, and, you know, without delegating, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be getting done, because, you know, before, you know, like when it was Chandler and I, you know, it's like hands-on, you know, him and I, you know, are tackling things. You know, he does one thing, I do another thing, you know, everything kind of meets in the middle there. But, you know, since he's passed away, it's kind of all been on me, and other people, you know, have, you know, taken on roles. You know, Pedro has taken on, you know, a huge role, and, you know, other people have stepped into different roles, but it hasn't been in that, like, it's been more like administrative type of stuff, you know what I mean? Like Pedro's like keeping track of the books and the money, and, you know what I mean, and budgeting, and, you know, just logistics, and, you know, building cages and transporting cages, and, you know, he's kind of like the all around, like, you know, just everything guy. But, you know, he can't edit videos, you know what I mean? Like or shoot videos, you know, he like that. It's just too much.
He'd try if we gave him a camera. He'd try. He
does. I mean, he does those event centers.
Event center, right? Yeah, which are great, by the way.
He does all that himself. You know, like shoots himself, and then Chase edits them together. But, you know, I've just realized that, you know, I have to delegate more and more, and, you know, if that just shows growth. It's kind of crazy that, like, you know, AIW's almost 20 years in, and, like, we're still trying to find a way to grow and exist. And, you know, I think that just shows anybody that wants to get involved in wrestling, like, it's not that easy. Like, there's no turnkey operation for independent wrestling, you know, and it's just like, I've been doing this forever, and I still feel like I have nothing figured out, and it's always kind of a new, you know, hurdle or problem to solve. But, yeah, so this is just something that I wanted to do, but, like, I just didn't have the capabilities to actually execute it. And it finally got to the point to where Chase was like, okay, I feel like we can do this now. And I got with, you know, Matt Wadsworth and Dustin Alberti and Chase, and I said, hey, you know, you guys figure it out and shoot it, and I'll take a look at it. And if there's stuff I don't like, you know, I'll let you know. But I've kind of given them the reins on this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, the social media that we have, the avenues that we have, I just think there's so many possibilities with the show. I thought it was a great episode. I'm very excited for what's coming, you know, more, because the more we do it, you know, the more these guys are going to figure out what they want to do, what you want to do, you know, what you like and don't like. But I think there's so many possibilities. You know, we have these shows now. We're having Thursday shows again, hopefully more, you know what I mean, after this first one. But
that's really up, you know, as far as the Thursdays are, you know, it's really up to the people that are being given the platform, right? Like all of those guys, and and girls that are kind of, not always getting on every single show, the ball's kind of in their court to really kind of try to drive this home. And the fans, you know what I mean? If you want more wrestling on Thursday that's, $20, all in, like, hopefully if we get enough people out there and then they want us to do more, that's the hope. But
I think the Thursday kind of sets the stage to be like how they were before they went away, where you can get some of these like sleeper stealer matches, like these matches. You've had some matches on these Thursday shows that come out of nowhere, and then somebody, people get promoted up to the main roster, whatever, as they say. The more in a row that happens, and the more matches that people get like that, the more you're going to see people on the main shows. But like you said, it's like a platform for some of these people that you're not going to see on every big show to really kind of show out, and an opportunity to kind of show what they can do. And every Thursday we seem to have a great time. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the house packed this coming Thursday, the 29th.
Yeah, but I guess what you're saying is just I kind of interrupted you. What were you saying about the social media? There's just so much. There's so many opportunities, for people. Maybe they're not going to be on every show, but you might see a segment of theirs on Intense TV. You know what I mean? There's just so many opportunities of ways to keep fulfilling these stories and moving things forward now with Intense TV and the stories that can be told on that platform. Which, like you said, it's not necessarily, you're not going to have to see these to know why matches are happening. But for people who are very invested or could be more invested, this is a way to really kind of sink your teeth into AIW and kind of get more off the, more meat off the bone per se. I think it just opens up so many more opportunities now, kind of storytelling wise and kind of content wise. With, you may not see some of these roster members on every single show, but their story and what's going on with them can still kind of be irrelevant because you can see something on Intense TV. You know what I mean? And there's just an opportunity for people who are going to get more from AIW. You don't have to watch every Intense TV episode to know why these matches are happening or this or that. But for the fans who really want to get more from our roster and all that, it's a way to kind of keep them engaged and keep these stories kind of, flowing without having to be on every single match. We can have a lot going on at once with Intense TV. You know what I mean? It keeps everyone engaged in what's going on with the stories and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, I just think it's that complimentary content, and like this podcast or like the promo reels we were uploading before, just extra stuff, and hopefully something clicks, because I feel like we are doing so much unique and different, and Chase Oliver is putting so many, just nice touches on the live streams that a lot of people aren't doing. And I'm not saying we're better or we're worse than anybody else. I just think that Chase is doing a lot of things and putting in his own kind of little fingerprints on these streams and evolving them and making making it like a you're watching a live event. You're not watching just a independent wrestling show. It's like a different viewing experience, which is what we've been working towards these the last year and a half that we've been doing this on our own, as we've been trying to get to this point to where we're comfortable to try these things and kind of put our own little just unique viewing experience out there. And Intense TV is just another thing that can kind of complement that. But yeah, I allowed them to, I kind of gave them the shell, like Wadsworth was involved in the first Intense TVs that we did, 15, years ago, maybe even longer. It was very sporadic. It was never, sometimes you'd get them, sometimes it, just like the podcast, like sometimes you wouldn't, it just different.
Hey, we're back, baby.
Right. Different times. But, so we kind of wanted to keep that same format, and, I wanted them to kind of put their own little, finishing touches on it. And, I said I wanted it to be, consumable. So I thought 30 minutes at max was the way to go.
Oh yeah, I think it was a great episode. The first one, I thought speaking of all the Cleveland All Pro stuff earlier, putting that match in there with Corey Graves. What was his indie name again?
Sterling James Keenan.
Sterling James Keenan, yeah, and Jason Bane. That match, that was a great match.
And that was so when I got the I guess version 1, that had no commentary on it, and that was one of my things. I said, we have to have commentary on it. If I just think that the momentum dies, when you just get to this match without commentary. And we didn't really do traditional commentary. It was kind of like a director's cut commentary, but Dustin and I hurried up and did that like Wednesday night, and then we were supposed to debut it on Thursday, and I mean I didn't get that. Chase then didn't get it re-edited until late Thursday afternoon, and then we had to get it ready to kind of stream it out, but.
That was going to be my question, actually, was there original commentary? Because I was curious, because I thought your and Dustin's commentary over top of it, it's like you said, almost director's cut of it. I like that in a sense of where it like kind of brought it all around full circle of the Intense TV thing. Like, yeah, there maybe was previous commentary or whatever, but this is your and Dustin's like take on it, the AIW kind of look at it, I guess, which I liked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was no commentary on it at all. Like that was just, that match was from like a VHS tape, so like that's just what you got. There wasn't, you have to think like technology 20 years ago was like way different. JT would do commentary for his cable access show, but it was like, you had to hook up a thing to a VCR, and then you had to have another VCR, like you had to be playing the tape on one VCR, and then you had to be recording recording the TV with another VCR and feeding in, a sound cable into, an aux cable into the second VCR. Like it was just, things were a lot more complicated in those days. So,
yeah,
if it wasn't going to the cable access TV, there was no commentary, and a lot of those tapes were lost. I remember going to Cleveland All Pro, and like for like $1, you could just pick a tape out of this like bin, and it was like the master tapes from the cable access tapes. So
one of the first times I came to AIW, Chandler had a big box of tapes, and I bought a handful of VHS from him. There was a couple CZW Cage of Deaths, or not Cage of Death. What was the tournament on the farm at DJ's?
Tournament of Death.
Tournament of Death, right? Thank you. And there was a couple of those, and there was something. There was a couple other. But I remember when I had first gotten it was like one of the first few times I had came to AIW, so I wasn't super familiar with indie wrestling or much at that at all. And I remember being like, okay, all right, this is cool. But then like a couple years too later, when I really started getting into indie stuff and deathmatch stuff, I looked at the tapes again. I was like, oh, holy shit, it's a Tournament of Death tape. Like, hell yeah, I got this for $1. Like, right. Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's probably that was probably like Chandler's, Chandler would just like sell his personal shit to try to make money to pay for the show. Like, because he was just such a lifelong collector, and he would just buy everything, and then he would just, we called it the Chandler Flea Market. He would just bring shit from his house, and, he'd put it out there, and he'd be like, yeah, I'd be like, how far away are we from, he'd be like, yeah, we'll do all right. And then he'd be doing these fucking doorbuster deals in intermission, selling his shit. And then he'd be like, yeah, we covered, and it's just like crazy.
I love it because like I didn't like I said I didn't know Chandler as well. I didn't know him as like you guys did. I was brand new, coming around right at the end there, but I definitely own some of his shit for sure. Like I said, a bunch of VHS tapes, a bunch of just like Lucy wrestling figures that I bought off him, and a couple of wrestling magazines. But it was definitely one of the first, like maybe first, or I don't think it was the very first, but like the second or third AIW show that I came to. I just was like having such a great time. I was like, this is the best shit ever. Like I love this. I had a couple beverages from the stand over there, and I was like, I just want these people to have my money. So I was just buying shit off Chandler. I was like, yes, like I said, the VHS tapes, I didn't even really know what I was buying, but I was like, I want this to keep going. Here, take my money. Like I was just buying shit. It was great. So I just own a bunch of Chandler shit that I didn't really, I didn't grasp it at the time, but I'm glad about it now.
yeah, I mean, it's just, just different times, but that would be the only stuff, until they did like real television on Sports Time Ohio, that really had commentary from Cleveland All-Pro. Just a different, kind of a different time, just in technology and in the world. But that was my big kind of feedback when I got the first edition, I guess, of the new Intense TV was we needed to put commentary on that match. Because I just feel like just going into a match, and there's no context really at all, it could have kind of killed the momentum of the episode. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but that was just kind of my little quirk that I was like, we got to have commentary on this.
Yeah, I thought it worked well. Like I said, with putting your guys, AIW kind of twist on it, I thought it was great. It was great. Any how much do you want to allude here to the little cliffhanger action here towards the end?
You got to tune in this week. That's all I got to say. Oh, shout out though to IW Guide and Josh Goldstein, who wanted to sponsor and present the first episode. We did have to buy some additional things and software and stuff like that, so we were able to kind of stream it out to all the different social media platforms all at once. So, they helped kind of, take a little bit of that burden off because, we're putting this out there for free. There's no financial gain coming in from it. You know what I mean? So, if anybody that wants to sponsor any future episodes, please email jim@aiwrestling.com. We're trying to put Intense TV out weekly. I don't know if you need kind of proof of concept, but check out that first episode. IW Guide got the 5 minutes of kind of exposure on the countdown clock before the episode went live right at 8:00, and then they got shouted out during the commentary, and their logos were put up there, and also on the video titles.
Yeah, I saw the logos. The logo was up the whole time.
That's on the TikTok version too, but which was different, but. The titles on the videos were also presented by IW Guide. So, we're just trying to kind of find a way to balance, not lose money on this stuff, and, kind of continue to grow it.
Nothing is free, even when we put it out for free. It's still costing us money, so we're trying to recoup all we can there with that. But thanks.
Well, I mean, you got to think. Chase is editing it. Just to edit it. Dustin's writing up. Wadsworth and Pedro are filming these hosting gigs. But this brings in no. We don't get anything. You don't make anything off putting a live video on Facebook or YouTube. You get 1/1000th of a cent for every thousands of views. So it's just it's not we're not making it back from there. So the sponsorship did certainly help, and hopefully we can get some sponsors for the other episodes and kind of keep the train rolling. We're probably going to do it anyway, to be honest. But if we could not lose out, that would be paramount, as they say.
I just think it's a great opportunity if you have a smaller brand or in the wrestling, kind of community, whatever we're calling this thing, the vibe of wrestling, and you want to get your brand or idea out to more people.
I mean, it did
reach a lot of people.
Yeah, it did. I don't know what the grand total of views are, impressions, but we hit it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, even the nearly abandoned AIW Twitch channel. We put it out on all these different kind of platforms. So it certainly got a ton of impressions throughout. I don't know, like anything else, who knows what any of that means really as far as visibility. But there's certainly I think that the one on Twitter, has you can look at it. It has over 11,000 impressions or something like that. So
yeah,
for we're certainly not going to be getting Coca-Cola wanting to jump on board. But Like you said, something kind of, in the obscure wrestling realm of things. I think certainly it's a decent opportunity.
We need somebody in the wrestling, like independent wrestling world, to come out with an energy drink. Not Ric Flair, obviously. I think that's a little too big for us, but yeah, somebody make like a Red Bull wrestling, but not right. You obviously can't call it Red Bull, but you know what I'm saying, like an energy drink, wrestling energy drink.
Yeah,
buy
just give us money,
and
right?
I will drink it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be wrestling. Just give us some money,
That's true. Yeah, I guess it could just be an energy drink.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a lot of big things kind of on the horizon, and this is hopefully going to help, bring more eyes on us and kind of, I don't know. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Like, I really do feel like we're kind of on the cusp of something. Again, I just feel like things are really kind of finally starting to kind of lock in a little bit like they were, prior to COVID. And I have a strangely optimistic view of 2024 right now. I mean, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom.
Optimistic Thorn. All right.
But, we are, we're very planned and, just, I hope we can execute, and again, a lot of that falls on, fans and, kind of everything kind of falling into place. But I do feel like we're getting pretty locked in right now. And I think that we certainly have a ton of possibilities for 2024 to, finally get, those big crowds and, kind of get the props I feel we deserve. I feel like our team, it's cliche, everybody says it about their team, but I really do feel like our team works so extremely hard. And, I think people would just be satisfied if they just, were acknowledged a little bit, and like we kind of didn't have to always do this, struggle every other show type of scenario that we've been in for so long.
Yeah, I think we'll get ours here pretty soon. I think the hard work we've all been putting in, I think will be recognized here soon. But with that said, as far as Intense TV and stuff, fans, if there's anybody you want to see on Intense TV or things you'd like to see, feel free to join the Patreon, get in the Discord, let us know. Hit the social medias what you're looking to see on Intense TV. We're always listening to fans. Trying to see what you guys want, especially this type of content. Like we said, is kind of complimentary content that it's not make or break. You don't have to, but for the diehards and the people that want it, let us know what you want, and we'll try to bring it to you.
Yeah, and I do think that they're gonna I do think that Intense TV, as it stands right now, is really kind of in the position to evolve over time. I think the first few episodes are kind of introductory, and as it goes on, more things are going to kind of come out of it. I know that, I think that they just did a couple episodes that are just like focused, like the first one was kind of really focused on Tyler Jordan and Josh Prohibition and Jason Bain, and I think that they have some other ones that are very kind of like focused on certain topics. And then from there, things are going to kind of evolve out, and, it ends on a cliffhanger. And then, I know that they've shot additional things to kind of, go in that direction, which you'll probably see some this Thursday, some more on that cliffhanger. If you didn't watch, I won't spoil it for you. But, I think it's going to evolve into more of, like your wrestling TV show. But, right now it's kind of in its infancy. So like there's a lot of different directions it can go.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Intense TV. I love weekly content like that. It's the more AIW, the better, in my opinion. So we did open it up to questions in the Patreon and the Discord, and we got a decent amount of questions. So if you don't have any more, or if there's anything more you want us to go on the Intense TV,
let's do it.
Okay. AIW local favorite, one of my favorite fans, the Rip City Pharmacist, he has a question. He's saying, with SummerSlam rumored to be in Cleveland this summer, is it possible, can they expect a huge AIW show on that Thursday before? Almost kind of like a Mania type deal, like, when the Indies are on, when WWE's in town type deal.
We keep getting asked that, but it's just like, I don't know. We don't know the date, so we don't know. We have some, kind of things, in the works for the summer, like additional things, like back at North Canton Street Festival. We've been approached by some other places. So I don't know, is it going to be a Saturday? Is it going to be a Sunday? Is it, you know what I mean? Is SmackDown going to also be here? Like, there's just, are they going to do an NXT special? Like, there's just so much unknown right now. I don't know if I can answer it.
Right. And I would think the only real thing that we could control would be the relationship with our Thursday venue. If you guys would want something like that to be possible, we're going to have to be filling these Thursday shows. That way, if this comes spur of the moment, the venue's trusting of us to say, hey, yeah, throw that on there, because every time we book these people, they pack the house. You know what I'm saying? So that I would honestly think, not to sound like a little, corporate shill there, but I would think, honestly, that's the only really variable that we can control, would be having the venue be pleased enough that if we did spur of the moment be like, hey, you guys open for a Thursday?
Yeah,
they would be
the
like,
other thing is like,
you know what I'm saying?
You got to have, a venue that's available. Like,
right.
Everything's like so hush hush, and I've been trying to ask around about it, and like I can't get an answer. I've asked people, that work for the Browns. I've asked people that work for WWE. Like, I've asked people that work for the city. Like at City Hall. Like, you can't get an answer on anybody. So like, nobody said yes, nobody said no. Like, nobody said, what are you talking about either? You know what I mean? It's all kind of just like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. In a perfect world, yeah, but what if,
right?
Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, what if SummerSlam's on the day that Wrestle Rager's scheduled? Then what do we do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's been booked a year out. Like, what do you do?
Right,
then?
Right. I guess we would have to run against SummerSlam, right? I feel like Wrestle Rager would do pretty well. I don't know, man. I think it'd be all right. I think that show brings a lot of fans that wouldn't be, running home. But then, I don't know what WWE doesn't start until what, 8:00. We're usually done by 8:00. You know what I mean? We'll go inside, no class, and watch SummerSlam. It could be great.
Yeah, who knows? So. I just need more information, and then to go from there, like that's really it's just kind of like a wait and see.
Okay. Mike is also curious about any word, anything going on with the Odeon. I know there's been some talks that you said that there's, still renovating and stuff, but there's been a little bit of back and forth between you guys.
I just know that it's like gonna be a venue again. That's all I really know. I don't know what's like anything really more than that. I don't know if whatever it is going to be interested in us. I don't know if we would be interested.
You just know it's not going to be like a museum or something, right? Like that. Like, yeah.
I've definitely heard that it's going to be a venue again, and it's been renovated. And from what I understand, because I posted some of those backstage photos, the person that's like kind of running it or whatever reached out to somebody that works with us and said like, oh wow, this room doesn't even exist anymore. So like, who knows what it looks like, because I had posted the green rooms or whatever, and they had reached out to somebody and was like, oh yeah, let them know that this room doesn't even exist there anymore, with no further explanation. So
just that it's not there.
Who knows? It could be a totally different place. It could not work in there again. I don't know. I've not personally spoken to anybody from the Odeon though. So, and we're locked in, at Temple Live for the Cleveland dates through the end of the year at this point. So it's all kind of just wait and see.
Right. Jersey Mike is curious to know what match you're really excited to see for the 29th at the Mercury Music Lounge. The 29th, The Leap is the name of the show.
Well, the only one that I can comment on is the Production Open Challenge, because that's the only one that's been formally publicly announced.
So that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I love a good open challenge.
Everything else has been announced in the the early bird special tier of Patreon. You can see the whole card on there. But I'm not going to devalue what those people pay for. So if you want to know what the card is, sign up for that $15 tier on the AW Patreon. If not, pay attention to the social media. And I think a lot of things are going to kind of evolve themselves or develop this week on Intense TV.
I was, like I said, I was going to say that match anyways, because honestly, I love a good open challenge. I love a good surprise. We don't know who's going to come out and answer that call, but I also think it's going to be cool to see Derek and Katie, as a tag again. Ever since the big split, we've only got to see a little bit of Derek and Katie as an actual cohesive tag unit. You know what I mean? Not just Katie as his valet. So I'm stoked for this match, and it could be anyone who could come out and answer the open challenge. So. Love a good surprise. That was definitely going to be my pick, regardless of announced or unannounced.
The card is, supposed to be very focused on, the I guess underexposed talents, like we've been talking about. But you got to kind of put some of those, main show attractions. You know what I mean? And they are certainly a main show attraction. So, I hope that kind of convinces, the AIW regular fan to kind of check out on the Thursday, and you got to kind of cross-pollinate those audiences of, the people that are coming to support the young kids, and also get the AIW kind of diehard people in there as well. So I think Katie and Derek showing up on a Thursday show certainly should help things.
Right, and I think that's part of what's so intriguing to me is you're going to see them, Derek and Katie, going to wrestle somebody or a tag that maybe you wouldn't normally always see on a big main show. There's a lot of different potential there with impossibility of who they're going to face, and it's not going to be just your everyday old average AIW tag match. You know what I mean? It's going to be some styles crossing. So I'm pretty excited for that one. Going forward here, Jeremy, Mr. Ski, wants to know who was contacted or considered kind of who was on the short list for Stan's replacement.
I spoke to Dory Funk Jr., and I spoke to Tully Blanchard. And
wow. It's quite a list right there.
Hornswoggle.
Swags?
I'm trying to think.
Could you imagine if Swaggle would have came out in the hat and the?
Well, that was what I pitched. That's what I pitched as him as a cowboy.
Cowboy Swags would be incredible.
He was booked. I there were others, but those are the three that are just immediately in my brain right now. But it just didn't work at all.
Okay, I think
it would have been it would have been Dory Funk's 83rd birthday. It was actually his birthday. But it just
he didn't want to come out on his birthday, huh?
No, he was down. He was down for it, but what the flight would have cost on that late a notice based on where he flies out of was just we would have been in super deep with the flights and the fees and all that stuff. It wasn't something that I thought that we would be able to cover on a day and a half notice or whatever we had. But I tried. I feel like I contacted other people too, but those are the three names for sure that I know that I spoke to.
That's quite a list, but it's also, we've talked about this before. It's extremely hard, with 1 or 2 days notice because flights are just going to be so much more. And it's just, it's hard. It's hard on a short notice like that. It's tough. There's not much that can really be done, unfortunately.
Yeah, and on a Saturday too, it's just tough.
You just got to think. You got to think to yourself, if that doesn't happen, if Stan shows, or if we get somebody else, or blah blah blah, and you don't make Paul, wear the cowboy hat, you don't get that incredible backstage promo of the Paul, the woo. Yeah. That doesn't happen, and we got that. So I think we should just be happy with the outcome, right?
Right. Yeah. It certainly was, I guess, the path of least resistance. After having those conversations with, it was really an impossible situation kind of to work our way out of. So, it is what it is. And, these guys that, are so impactful like that are just booked so far in advance now, because there's just less and less of, the big name guys. So, it was just, we were really kind of up against a wall, and it was just kind of like, we can't, it's just not going to work. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, like, I'm going to go take my medicine and let people be mad at me and, just take my licks and kind of, try to move past it. That was all we could do, because it was just, there was no way, that we were going to be able to pull it off. Like, the only one that was even available was Dory Funk Jr. And, just what the flights would have been, because where he flies out of, it was like, it's a smaller airport, and it was just, there with a day's notice, there were not a lot of routes available that would have gotten him here on time. So it was just like, it was crazy money. And it was the amount of money that I did not feel comfortable gambling.
Yeah. Scott Randoms wants to know, is there any chance of a Kevin Sullivan appearance for a meet and greet? He says he remembers he was scheduled in the mid 2022 and his flight was canceled, so he didn't show.
That was a deal through Moose from ACW. He had travel issues, and he was going to do like a loop of, our show, his show, and, something else. And like the flight I think the flight got canceled because he flies out of somewhere like, I want to say Seattle. So I don't know, like, weirdly, Kevin Sullivan called me a couple times. I never called him back though. Unrelated, because he didn't know that he was ever booked for AIW. I don't think, because it was all through ACW. But he I don't know, he must follow AIW or something. He was like asked somebody for my phone number. He's trying to come in. So I don't know.
So the door's open then, it sounds like.
Yeah, the door's open. I just gotta find the right scenario for him.
Fantastic. One last one. Hercules wants to know, how hard would it be to run a wrestling show in the field that's outside of Toyhio? Excuse me, obviously it wouldn't work in the wintertime, but June's, a summertime show.
I don't know. You know what I mean? That's really up to the venue, and I certainly don't know how you would charge for it if it's in the field. Yeah. So I don't know. Probably not that simple. I would love to get back out to Youngstown. We were I thought we were going to be at that Penguin City place. The conversations went well with the owner, and then they kind of pawned us off onto somebody else, and they just told me that they're booked for the whole year. And I was like, really? The whole year? So I don't know what happened there, but in West Side Bowl, I don't know. It's just, I thought we did well there, but I just thought that we weren't, I wasn't feeling the love there. I'll say that.
Okay.
I don't think the amount of business that we were bringing them was appreciated. So, I don't know. I'm not gonna beg to come back. We did. Yeah. We did pretty good, and it is what it is. So we're certainly looking for somewhere else in the area. I love kind of partnering up with Toyhio when we can. I think it's just great synergy for us, for them. I just think there's just so many possibilities, but we couldn't do it in that place because where they do their show, because it's so crazy packed with vendors. They set up the day before, and then they're tearing down as soon as the show's over at 4:00. So it's just for us to be able to turn that room over that quick, it would be pretty difficult. So I don't know.
It would be just too much room, I think, that would go unused for toys, and that's not really what the point of it is, really. So
I'm saying if we did it after it was over, waiting for them to turn over the room, and then us setting up, you know what I mean? They don't stop until 4:00, so it's pretty tight. There's absolutely no way that we could do it during the convention, because Rick uses every bit of real estate, which is
that's what I was
props
saying.
to him. You know what I mean? He has every vendor you can squeeze in there is in there.
Right. They wouldn't want to waste the space
right.
of the ring, I guess was my point. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, that was kind of it for questions as far as the Discord goes. If you want to get in our Discord, join up to the Patreon. There's a bunch of different tiers. As John just said earlier, too, the card has been announced in the early bird tier. So if that's the type of thing you want to, you like to see the card ahead of time, we put the podcast up early usually in there when we're able to. There's a lot of early bird stuff going on in there. A bunch of different
ticket
tiers,
links,
though.
Tickets go on sale first in there.
Yeah, that's a major thing.
But that's going to be the next kind of project is, kind of breaking news here is I want to revamp the Patreon, to kind of make it more inclusive for everybody, you know what I mean? And kind of maybe change up those tiers and, the pricing and, kind of condense it down. I've been looking at different things, there's very successful Patreons that just have you get everything for $5, you know what I mean? And I'm just wondering, is that better to just give everything away for $5 to everybody or keep it separate? I don't know. But I definitely feel like that is kind of next on the to-do list is kind of tweaking and putting more of a focus on the Patreon and figuring out, what the best plan of attack is there.
Yeah. Well, if
sound
you have
off in the Discord. I
was just going to say, if there's things you want to see or any ideas, for the Patreon, sound off the Discord. Let us know. Like you said, we're always trying to, listen to everybody and take advice. So, we do have a show coming up next week, the 29th of February. AIW presents The Leap at Mercury Music Lounge. Thursday, the 29th.
Leap Day.
Yeah.
It's on Leap Day.
Excuse me, weekday, correct.
Leap
yeah,
Day.
We got
Leap
Day. Yeah, the once every 4 years we get the 29th. We're going to do this every year on the leap year. We start a year, quad yearly event.
I don't know. Once we kind of got them interested again, I just thought that there was only one date that we could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thought it was too weird to not do it on Leap Day.
I like it. $20, all tickets $20. Come out, have a good time on the 29th. Party with us on a Thursday. I'm excited for the show. Like you said, the card is in the Discord. In the Patreon. If you're a Patreon member, early bird, you can see that card. I've seen the card. I'm pretty excited for it. A lot of stuff that I'm excited for. Come out, hang out with us on a Thursday, and then we will be back in Cleveland.
Yeah. Also, I was gonna, you're segueing into it, but I got a message from Michelle Carter. And apparently, front row is sold out for March 22nd already. So, those are cooking right now. And then we have the three premium tables left. So, let's get those ringside sold. Let's get those tables sold. I would like to get the temple fucking jamming on March 22nd. We got a lot of fucking crazy shit planned for that. That's for sure.
Return to Cleveland. Our first show of the year in Cleveland proper will be at the Masonic Temple, the Intense Asylum, as we like to call it. I'm very excited for that show. Like you said, front row sold out, but get those. There's still a few tables. I think those tables are the best seat in the house. Buy up those premium seating and let's pack the place because, as John said, we got a lot of wild shit planned for March 22nd. We're bringing Demolition in for a meet and greet. We're bringing in Effie, fan favorite. We've gotten tons of requests. When you bringing Effie back? When's Effie coming back? Guys, booked solid. We got him. March 22nd.
There's another fucking huge return that is coming on that day as well. Some debuts, returns. It's a pretty loaded fucking lineup. It's actually so loaded. I'm just I don't even know where to put all these people. I'm trying to keep, the match count down, and it's just people keep trying to get on the show. And
it's loaded up. Let's do an old school 15 matcher.
It's how do you say, you know what I mean? It's how do you say no, maybe next time, it's just somebody today was trying to get on, and I'm just, I don't know where to put you, we got 9 matches, and one is a scramble with the most random collection of people of all time. So it's just fuck. But yeah, March 22nd it's gonna be a biggie, I think. So,
hell yeah,
I want that fucking. Like I'm not getting too greedy, but I would love to see that lower bowl fucking filled. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what we would have to do to fill it all the way up, but man, I would like to see the majority of that lower bowl filled because it looked so sick at Terror at the Temple. With all those people in there, and it wasn't totally even filled. So I just think that if we could fill that lower bowl, I mean that would just be huge.
We do have one match that is announced for that show, and I mean that should bring the people out for sure. We got Josh Prohibition and Jason Bain versus Josh Bishop and Tyler Jordan in a tag match. Like John said, would love to pack the place because it sounds like we got an insane card. So I'm very excited. Anything else before we get out of here, Thorne?
No, just hopefully someone drops a sponsorship on Intense TV this week, and look for that on Thursday night around 8 p.m.
All right. Well, for myself, for John Thorne, for AIW, we'll see you next week. Thanks.